All right, here's the second part of the video. Let me show you what's going to happen here. So this is find exact ratios, or finding the exact values. Okay, this is part 2. Okay. Number 1. I want you to give me the exact value for cosine. And here they're actually, the first ones, they're asking you what cosine is, and you're like, cosine of what? And then they kind of already draw the angle for you. So they're really asking you for cosine of, and in this case, it's going to be 240 degrees. So they're asking you, okay, they're drawing the angle for you. They're telling you it's right here. This is already drawn for you, so they already did that part for you. The angle is 240. Oh, by the way, part A is gonna it's a 2-part question. They're gonna say find the exact value. So find exact value. And part B is name a point on the terminal side, right? We covered that in the first video. First video. Name a point on the terminal side. All right. So if you're doing this right and you draw this angle correct, you're going to realize that, again, remember these reference angles that you're going to get? They're either going to be 30, 60, or 45. It has to be. Okay, so this one's going to be obviously 180 plus. This one will be 60 in here, which means that this one over here, let me just pull it out a little bit more. Okay, this is the terminal side. This is the one that keeps going. But you're just going to kind of pick a point here, drop it down. You're going to make this imaginary triangle here, right? In order for you to get these exact values, you have to see the triangle and have all 3 sides. So that's 60, this one's 30, and I know it's a 30, 60, 90. And then we covered it in part 1, right? The first video, you're going to get the measures, right? The hypotenuse is 2. The opposite of 30 is 1, and this one is, the square root of 3. All right. So next is, make sure, do any of the x or the y do you need to put a negative on here? Yes, this is going to have a negative, and also a negative on this one, right? This is in the negative part of the x, this is in the negative part of the y. Okay. So the cosine of the angle, really for this one, it's really asking you for the cosine of what? The cosine of 240 degrees, the exact value for cosine of 240 degrees. Well, what's cosine? Remember, going back to our 6 trig functions, which one's cosine? Cosine would be what? Ka. Remember so ka to? That means that cosine would have to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So the adjacent would be, let me label it. This is the hypotenuse, right? Label your sides. This one's the opposite because this is your reference angle. This is the reference angle, so the opposite side is the opposite of the reference angle. Not always opposite of 30. Opposite of the reference angle is, here's your O side, and this is your adjacent side. So cosine would be adjacent, which would be -1 over 2. So that's the answer for cosine. This is the exact value. Now this one, you happen to get a nice fraction, right? So cosine of 240 is equal to -1/2. And you can actually check it. Now later you're not going to get a nice fraction like this. You're going to get some decimal values, but this one actually gives you a nice one. If you are checking this on your calculator, and I go to cosine of 240 degrees, guess what it's going to say when I hit the enter? Enter. See, negative 0.5. That is exactly negative 1/2. That's correct. When you start doing other ones, and I do like cosine of 60. See, oh, that's another good one. Cosine of 30. You see, you start getting these. These are not exact values. This is not what I want to see. I got to see a ratio, something with a root or a numerator denominator. Okay. So that answers part A. Find the exact value. Part B, name a point. Name a point on the terminal side. Well, this is the point right here. What is the coordinate for a point that would be here? If I'm using these sides, what would be the point that would lie on this terminal side? Well, I got my x and I got my y, so for the x was what? Negative 1, comma, the y, negative root 3. And that's the answer for the point. All right, let's do one more. So the first four, the first couple of them, they're going to give you kind of like the angle drawn for you. Later, that's not going to be drawn for you. Okay, so it's just going to be like this. Number 2. What if they say find sine of negative 100 and, let's see, what do I want to do? No, negative 225. Right, we got to find the exact value of negative. See, if I do that here, well, you can't even do it because you can't put a negative in. If I try to do sine of negative 225, oh, it's going to give me that, but I don't want that. I don't want to see that. You can check your answer after and see that the fraction that you get is going to give you this, but that's not an exact value. Okay, so what are you going to do? You got to sketch it out first. You got to sketch out this negative 225 first. So, and we learn how to draw angles. Negative angles, all angles start from here. Negative is clockwise, so negative 90, negative 180. Well, it's going to be right down the middle. All the way here to here is negative 225. It's 180 plus 45 is 225. Okay? And I know that this terminal side, this is the terminal side of negative 225. But I'm just going to pick a point here, and I'm going to just construct an imaginary triangle here. That's what you're doing, right? Because we're using these triangles that we're familiar with. And if this is 45, well, guess what? This is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. And then you label the 3 sides. How do the sides go for a 45, 45, 90? X root 2. So this is going to be 1. This is going to be 1. This is going to be root 2. And then you make sure and you look at your x and your y. Do any of these need to be a negative? Yep, this one. It's on this side of the x-axis. This one's up, so it's positive y, it's fine. Hypotenuse is always positive. You might as well name the point now. If I got this and I got this, the point's going to be what? What's this xy going to be? The point's going to be what? Negative 1 on the x, positive 1 on the y. Okay, so give me the exact value now. The exact value for sine of negative 225, what do I have to do? Well, if the function is sine, I know that's what? So. Remember so katoa? So that means that has to be what? O over h. Sine has to be O over h. And then which one's the opposite side? Opposite of the reference angle? Opposite over what? Hypotenuse. So you're going to get 1, positive 1 over the square root of 2. Unfortunately, you remember we can't leave it like this. We don't want. We got to fix this. We can't leave a radical under the denominator. Anyways, when you fix it, you're gonna get sine of negative 225 degrees is equal to the square root of 2 over 2. Now remember when I did the sine of, right here on the calculator, when I did the sine of negative 225, it gave me 0.707106, blah, blah, blah. Now let me check. If I push this in the calculator and I check this, it's going to give me the same thing. Watch, check this out. I'm going to put the square root of 2 get the answer for that, and divided by what? 2? Got the same. See, I got the exact value. The problem is this one, people round it off. They'll put 0.7 or 0.71. It's not exact. This is an exact value. Okay? That's what you're doing. So you're finding exact values and you're naming a point on the terminal side. All right, there it is. Good luck.